Hey guys, welcome back to Exotic Car DIY. Today we're back on the 430. I'm excited to bring this project to you. This thing is new to me. I just got it a few days ago. We already kind of did the intro video. I've inspected it fully. In fact, I took off all the panels like some geek, even before I really necessarily drove it. And I do want to drive it. The only problem is still waiting on a couple pieces of paper for the registration. But as soon as I get all that, I'll drive it. In the meantime, I'm going to start on project one, and that will be the headliner. The headliner's over there on my pool table. Right now, it's just kind of the crumbly foam stuff that keeps falling on me. Like when I drove it back from the truck, it was just like raining down on you. Anyway, so I've seen other YouTubers film other people working on this, and as much as I like taking it anywhere, I don't necessarily want to take this kind of project to somebody else that is, you know, they need to rush through it to be profitable. And when you rush through stuff like this, you break clips. So you may have seen in my Mercedes video, I really want to maintain the integrity of all the clips. I hate rattles, so I take my time. So I've already done this side. I'm going to show you kind of how it's done, and then we're going to do the other side together and go in and get the headliner out. Okay, so the goal here is to get the headliner out, and so they can reattach it both to the roof of the car and the leather to this. So to do that, you can actually leave this one in place, but I believe both these side panels have to come off. The I guess the halo over the top of your head, and then these driver size pieces. So that's what it starts with, is this one. So we look over here, you got these little Christmas tree clips, 1, 2, and then there's 3 and 4 down here. You really don't need to remove this one, just this one over here kind of pops off, and anyway, it pulls away. So let's go ahead and do it on that side. All right, so this piece just kind of pops right off with no effort at all. Now we're just gonna take a 17mm, loosen the seatbelt. So like I said, on the bottom of this, you'll see the hole push up in there and kind of wiggle, and it'll just release itself out with no effort. Okay, so now that with this all out, you need to get the snap that's basically right here, and there's another one here. So we're going to work on this one, pulling it evenly and straight out. You can kind of get your fingers underneath this seal. Okay, there's one. And we're going to get this guy over here. Now, when you're pulling, just make sure this bolt goes through the hole. And now we're free. Now, you really don't have to remove it from the car. We've exposed the screw here. That'll get this piece off. So that's the next step. Now, just use a 4mm Allen to back it out. So now with the screws undone on both sides, we looked in here with a camera. It appears that there are 3 snaps. Once they're undone, then this thing kind of slides forward to come out. So the first snap is about, I don't know, almost a foot. I mean, about 8 inches in. You kind of get your fingers in here, just pull straight down, it'll come free. We're going to work our way to the middle one. There it goes. Pull it forward, and we're free. All right, then next we're going to undo this Allen, and that should allow us to do this. And again, there's 2 snaps in here, and then after that, the headliner should be easily removable. So I'm going to pull directly at the snap. Go. And the next one. All right, so now we've got all the leather panels moved away, and so you can kind of just start peeling away. Now, if yours is securely attached to the top, I don't see why you just can't re-glue it right away. But obviously this one is not secured in any way, shape, or form. It's fallen down pretty good. So you're going to reuse this piece. I guess some people use Dynamat up here, but I'm planning on reusing this one. So kind of find an edge that lets you start. Another thing to note is this actually is the physical, like, outside panel of your body, so don't use any tools here because you don't want to dent anything at all. Looks like all of it's falling down except for this little center section right here is really well tacked on there. So I might heat up with a hot hair dryer on the top and see if that helps me. Boom. Okay. All right, so we were able to salvage the tar paper. So we're going to scrub off the foam on one side, leave this side sticky. And then over here we still have our piece of leather, which I've already kind of scraped off most of the foam. We'll do the rest. And then we got our trim pieces. The only thing we broke were 2 clips here. And so I already ordered a pack from Ricambi to replace those. They were only 60 cents each, so pretty successful. So what I've done this morning is just, I kind of sanded off and cleaned this up real good. So we got the perfect leather on the bottom, and I just used a little bit of air and got all the foam off of this. So now we're over here and just kind of peeling off the rest of this nasty foam. We're going to sand this down. This is the sticky side for the roof. Next thing, I'm using a little bit of just lacquer, putting it on here and scraping it with a putty knife. And you basically get off all the old adhesive they used, and that'll make us have a really good bond. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning up both sides of this, and then we'll be ready to glue it. Okay guys, so day 2 of the 430 headliner project. So I actually chickened out and I took the headliner to a shop to get it done because he said he could do it. He looked at it and he's like, yeah, it'll take me about an hour and I can get to it in 3 weeks. And I was like, really? So I called a couple other guys around town to see if they'd come out there and do it. And basically everybody's like, it's a, what kind of car is it? And I'm like, it's just an old Ferrari or whatever. But anyway, nobody can do it unless I want to wait 3 weeks. And I already got the car taken apart. So I'm going to go ahead and do it myself. So the next step to make this a little easier, maybe a pro might be able to tuck it in here nice. I'm going to go ahead and just take off this trim piece. And another thing I got to do is take apart the dash anyway. So I'm just going to do everything at once and hopefully get this all knocked out because the dash vents are a little bit trimmed in there. So to get the light off, you should be able to just gently pry on the clear housing and it should just pop right out, metal clips. All right, up in here there are 2 just Allens we're gonna undo. Normally I don't like using any power tools on the interior, but these are surprisingly very tight. And I tried to do them just with an Allen key and I was like, this is going to take forever. But anyway, so now we're going to remove the sun visors. And it's always just a good idea to go slow when you're working in an interior, just because you don't want to slip a screwdriver and scratch the leather or anything like that. Unclip it. Set it here. One big benefit to actually filming yourself doing this is not just for YouTube. It's so when I put it back together, I can watch my own video to figure out how I did it. Makes it so much easier than any of the guesswork. Where'd that screw go? I believe this one is 100% slide backwards. All right, so now you can see we've actually removed plenty enough to do the headliner, but here's the thing. Since to do those dash vents I was talking about, we had to take out the entire dash. I don't want to have to like put this all back together to next week have me take it all out. So I'm going to go and continue down. We're going to take off the A-pillar trim so we can get the dash out. So to kind of drill in my point, before you start just yanking on a panel, try to understand how it works, because I thought it might be a snap. Turns out there's another screw here that we got to get to first. Okay, there we go. So there was what appears to be a tiny metal snap here at the bottom. Before I continue with removing the dash, I really want to get the headliner in, because that's kind of the project that's like looming the most over my head right now, literally. So one guy on the internet, he actually glued the leather to the foam to the tar paper and then tried to put it all up there. I'm pretty sure that that was not correct. I could be wrong, but I believe that the tar paper is actually kind of the factory sound deadening, and I'm going to glue that to it first, essentially, because this is like an arch piece, and then we'll glue the foam leather combo onto that. And that's because this is arched, and I don't want any wrinkles like I saw in that one guy's video. You got to clean off all that old stuff. You saw me use lacquer to get off all that old adhesive. Wipe this down with that lacquer stuff to get everything off, otherwise you will not have a good bond. So here's the plan. We're going to use a roller, and I got literally the entire interior covered with stuff because I don't want to mess up anything. We're just going to roll it on here. You got about a 15-minute window. We're going to go roll it on the black tar paper and then install it. So the roof's now done. So now we got to go over and do the asphalt panel. And that's kind of the look I'm going for. You don't want it, I don't want it too heavy. I don't want it way too light. Just something like a nice even coat is going to be perfect. All right. This is just like a screen installer tool. Anyway, so it kind of goes underneath the lip, so we kind of got stuck in this back corner over here where it kind of tried to get stuck. All right, so you see what I mean? If we had glued the headliner to the foam and then to this and tried to put it in there, and then we ran into that issue, you'd never get it flat. The leather's gonna get attached to the foam, and then we're gonna glue it all up here. All right, guys, so I have to admit a little bit of a failure. Some of this is trial and error. Now, I've done a headliner before. I did it in my Mercedes. I had an Alcantara factory headliner that came down, and initially I used that Super 77 stuff you bought at Home Depot, and it lasted for about a day. In fact, I don't think I even got it back in the car before it failed. So I learned don't use that stuff. The professionals say to all use the contact cement. So that's what I used on it, and it worked great. Now doing this one, I wanted to use all contact cement because that's just what the pros use and stuff like that. So we successfully glued in the asphalt sheeting to the roof on that, using that. But when I put it onto the foam, it just wasn't rolling out. In fact, it was like pulling up chunks of foam. And I tried to like pour a little bit on there to see if I could roll it out faster, and it didn't work. What it did is it kind of ate through the foam. So anyway, it's Saturday. The upholstery guys are closed. So what I had to do is go buy a headliner. Luckily, I found one in stock. So this one, I'm actually going to just use the 3M headliner adhesive. It's not the Super 77 stuff, so it should work really good. It has like perfect reviews on Amazon. So the only problem is I didn't want to spray because I didn't want to have to do this. So I got the whole car taped off, so there shouldn't be any risk of getting headliner adhesive sprayed all over there. Kind of sit down and then first make sure we're straight. Kind of hold it up, kind of keep it clear of stuff.
Like a triangle.
All right, so what we did is we made marks in here. And we're just going to try to work it from the middle to the outside. It is dead centered and everywhere. There's no wrinkles. Look at that. Yay! High five. Yeah. Now I'm just kind of pushing it in there, so make sure all adhesive is fully kind of penetrated into the foam. And it says you have to push like with 20 pounds of force. Should be good. Anyway, that's it. I don't see a single wrinkle, unlike the other video I saw. Not a single wrinkle at all. It's nice and tight up there. Yeah, we had to take off more trim pieces, but like I said, I was already taking off the trim pieces to do the dash, so I did it right. And yeah, but I mean, I guess I could have left it up to the professionals, but then again, they've never done this either. So it was going to be a first time for somebody, and so I'm very happy with the way this came out.